that are going to change permanently. Okay, so be it if you look at work from home, which was there in a few companies, it was not there across. Like for example, our company, I come from a ICT major globally, so we were not very okay for a work from home. But in the last 3 months, we realized it works wonders. Okay, everything has been somehow going smoothly with work from home, and we have started to embrace and adopt it. And going forward, that is going to be this. So this is something we need to be cognizant of, that post-COVID is never going to be pre-COVID ever. Okay, so it may come back to a certain shape and form of the pre-COVID times, but there will be some structural fundamental differences that we have to live with. That is caveat number one. The second one I have, the next screen, please. Yeah, COVID-19 is going to be a very, very, very long haul. Okay, another realization that we need to have. Too many stories, too many theories, too many school of thoughts all around bombarding us from the media and the YouTube, the videos, etc. But this is our long haul. Okay, and the sooner we realize it, sooner we get into a system, sooner we do our business planning, the business strategy around it, the better for all of us. This is a long haul, not only from the sense that where we get a grip on the particular pandemic. Okay, that is several quarters away. The other point is the sentiment, the reassurance from consumers, clients, from business, from people is going to take a lot of time till it comes down to a normal state. So we are talking for a very, very long haul. Okay, so there is nothing called a post-COVID in the near scenario. Let us all get it very clear right at the beginning. And the third one, which is not there, but this is communication technology, okay, from entity company. So we are into this IT infra ICT space. Okay, so many of the examples that I'm going to bring on the table today would be pertinent to technology, IT, etc. So kindly excuse me for that, because those are something that we dabble in on a daily basis. But what is more important, we can take the essence from it and we can adapt to the different industries that all of you are from. Okay, so that is something that I request all of you to do it. So just don't go by the examples, etc., which is pertinent to technology, IT, and the related field. But the main essence can be always be picked up and applied to respective domains. So that was the 2-3 caveats I want to spell out right at the beginning, and now move to the agenda. So what I'm going to cover today is a span of next 30 odd minutes is something about the context setting. What are we talking about? What is the context and the ambience around us? How important is clients and what we need to do with them? How important is narrative? Okay, in this current scenario, brand. What aspect of the brand is of paramount importance? Digital customer experience, because everything is pivoted to digital and it's going to be in the foreseeable future. Okay. The other one is experiential marketing. Everyone wants to experience, okay, and how this is even become, it was pretty critical before pre-COVID times, but now it's even going to be more critical. And lastly, how are we moving forward? Okay, the journey that resonates as we move along and meander across the terrain, which is going to unfold over the next several quarters. So that's a few nuggets I've put it across for this presentation today. Let's start with the context setting. Next slide, please. Thanks. Yeah, we can go to the next. This section heading. Yeah. The next slide, please. Yes. Oh no, sorry, we moved. I think we moved 2 slides ahead.
This is the slide post context setting. So you want
yeah, that's okay. Fantastic. So this is so what we need to understand here is that this is emerged as the biggest disruptor ever. Okay, and the definition of value has transformed into protecting what we have rather than looking out for what we don't have. Okay, this is the harsh reality in this times of COVID. Protect what you have, guard whatever assets you have, and this resonates across everywhere. This resonates across your customer segment. Look after your customers that you currently have. Don't let them go out of your hands, okay? Because the process of acquiring new business is slightly distant, slightly tougher in today's time. So the entire thing of value is protecting what we have rather than looking out what we don't have. The next slide, please. Yes, thanks. So gone are the days when the value proposition meant only customer value. Today's time, it's forced us to think beyond that and looking more deeply into ourselves, our own business processes, our value drivers, our technologies, our employees. So when we're talking about the value proposition, these are some of the things which is pertaining to the topic, the main topic. So I just wanted to dissect that. So we are not only talking about the customer value, we're talking about the entire 9 yards, which includes our processes, our value drivers, our employees, and our technologies. And that is very critical when you're talking about the value proposition. Because customers in today's time also look at how are your processes built up? How are your customers being treated? Because if you are not taking care of the back end, they don't have very much faith that you will be able to deliver high value to me. So that has become a very significant proposition for all of the companies in today's world to think about it. Next slide, please. So in the next slide, you will see that we have tried to capture something that is happening across the ecosystem, the disruptions. Okay, so be it in terms of how the remote desktop protocol has gone up, the usage has gone up, the VPN system has gone up, how the internet exchange point at Frankfurt, you've seen how the traffic flow has gone up, how if you see how the data center stocks across the world have surged, how Zoom has really gone through the roof in terms of its meetings that they're doing, the fintech apps across the world. This is the disruption that's happening everywhere across the world. Okay, so we just wanted to give you a glimpse of the disruption that's happening, and it's across. It's happening for IT, technology, your media, your data centers, your event economy, and how the government is also pumping in money, as a stimulus to get hold of this. And it's also happening across your entertainment, be it your OTT drive, your esports, how they're going across, and how the players like Netflix, Amazon, etc. They are being asked to cut down and protect basically the network pressure, because everywhere people are just feeding on it. Okay, it's like a mayhem going on in terms of the OTT across. So this is just a disruption that we thought I'll just capture you just to give you a glimpse of what's happening not only in India but across the globe. Next slide, please. What does it translate to? It translates into a lot of things in terms of business continuity, how business continuity performance is doing. There are still gaps in it, how to remedy the gaps, the data traffic surge that's going on at phenomenally high, the digital customer experience, because in-person interactions have dropped. How do I tackle that? Because this is coming and looming large on my horizon. The work and play I talked about, so be it your RDP or video in the work, or be it a esports or OTT, just getting a big boost. EdTech is supporting new modes of instruction, and EdTech is really doing well, both in terms of business and the stocks, etc. Telemedicine as a force multiplier for physical hospitals. So there are, in fact, yesterday I saw something, a novel work. So you're aware that the hospital beds are in very short supply. People are spending hours and hours moving across. So there is a concept that has come out with the firm. They're saying, don't have to go to hospitals. We will come here and make your home as a hospital bed. Okay, so ICU at your home. We will come with all the equipment so that at the home itself you can create ICU so that you don't have to worry about it. So these are the fantastic new things that are coming in. And then obviously the demand for the data, the demand for core and edge data centers, that's also coming up, mushrooming around. So these are some of the themes that we've captured as a part of the context setting. Next slide, please. Very, very important slide. This is something we have coined. Don't ever chase ambulance. People are in their own danger area. Something or the other is bothering them. Don't force your agenda down their throat. So chasing an ambulance is a sinful act. And this is something, if you do it, is going to be etched in the memories of your customers, clients, and prospects. And they are not going to forgive you. Today's time is more of serve than sell. Show your empathy. Whatever you're doing, your deeds, whatever you're saying, it has to be genuine. It has to be authentic. Your brand has to stand out. Brand has to stand out from the clutter. You've seen about how Mahindras have done it, okay, where they've gone ahead and transformed some of their plants into and making ventilators and all those stuff. You've seen how the Tatas have done it, opening up their doors for the frontline workers. So you need not be a big brand. You could be a small brand, but what it needs is your way of standing out and contributing in this particular process. Okay, you could be taking care of your contract workers. Okay, you could be taking care of your workforce and ensuring them that they will be taking care of these times of distress. So brand has to stand out. It has to really speak out. It has to act. It cannot be a dormant. It cannot be lost in the Me Too business. Communication is of paramount importance, and many companies have faltered here. They have misunderstood the importance of communication. And communication, when I'm talking about, is across the ecosystem, be it with your clients, be it with your suspects and prospects, because you have been already doing a discussion with them, be it with your own employees, be it with the partner ecosystem, be it even with your the channel partners, the distribution channels, be it across your vendors, etc., across the entire ecosystem, be with the industry bodies. You need to communicate and communicate at a regular basis. This is a lifeline. If you are breaking on this, you're losing out on much of this aspects where you need to be there in terms of your linkage with all these sectors. And lastly, concern for the ecosystem. Okay, as I spelled out earlier, the entire ecosystem has to be there. You need to be seen as helping the ecosystem. Don't be selfish and only looking at the customers. Customers are important, but look beyond that, because you have to work with a lot of stakeholders. You have to work with your partners. You have to work with the vendors. You have to work with the distribution channels. If you are not taking care of them, this entire pandemic, in the entire crisis, when things become rosy and we are ready to roll your business, you won't have those linkage of those channel system coming to you. It won't be like a well-oiled machine, and the machine will falter. So concern for the ecosystem has to be genuine. It has to be authentic. Don't miss out on these small nuggets. These are ensuring that all the parts of the entire machinery has to be well-oiled, has to be looked after, greased, so when the time comes, it can go into production. Next slide, please. Yes, this is the key slide that we're starting off, building the relationship. As I spoke about before, I think nothing could be more important to this. Is how much of investment the company is doing, your senior management, the CEO is doing in terms with its clients. Okay, so building relationship, being with them is of such a humongous importance right now, because if clients remember, it's like an age-old saying, a friend in need is a friend indeed. If at these difficult times, at the historic times, this company stood by me, this company went out of the way to help me, they will remember this. And when the normal times comes back, they will remember the selfless act the company did for them. They'll remember that the company has gone out of the way when we needed them. So relationship building is of so much importance. Next slide, please. So we did this with the global clients across the world. So one was ensuring that the continuity of service. Like for example, we are into data centers, cloud, network, security. We have around 2,500 to 3,000 clients. We ensured that the service to the clients were never stopped. So being essential service, because we were in data centers, we are in the ISP business, we had our workforce around 5% or so at the data centers across India. They were there, based there, stationed there, working 24/7. We took care of everything. So be their beds, be their food, be their water, snacks, everything. So ensuring that your clients do not suffer. Okay, the lights have to be on. The continuity of business has to be on. The second one, helping your clients to respond to COVID. Many of them, we know of cases where many of them had their physical infrastructure, okay, which was in office and got locked down. They were helpless. They came to us and said, we don't know how to go about doing our business because our physical servers are locked down. We help them to move into cloud, okay. Some of them are having issues in terms of security threats and attacks. We help them with the security services. So help the clients whatever way, form, and shape they can, because you need to make them that they are having their business up and running. Okay, extending the entire portfolio of services to minimize the impact of disruption to the organizations. And the third is share your best practices. We have offices across 80 odd countries. Okay, and we have look under entity. It's a Fortune 50th billion. So we have a huge repository of best practices, be it in terms of connectivity, security, flexible working hours, in terms of collaboration tools. Share all your experiences, share all the good things that you have, the case studies that you can have with the customers, so that they can learn from there. Share with the wider community. Okay, this is a time where you need to be more giving and sharing and helping them to come back to the normal business. So, stay as close to the clients as possible. Do not sort of neglect them and say it's a business as usual. They will anyhow be with us. They are looking far beyond a business relationship. They're looking at something which is where the empathy factor, the human kindness that comes in. So brand is more of a human being here. Show your kindness, show your love, and be selfless in reaching out and extending a helping hand to each of the clients, and irrespective of the clients. So it could be across your enterprise, mid-market, small SMEs, startups, everything. I'll cover in subsequent slides how we have rolled out our offers to across the length and breadth of the spectrum. Next slide, please. Very, very important. The content. Content is the king. You must have heard about it. So how do we play with the content right now in today's scenario? The narrative. It has to be a thematic based, theme-based approach. Okay. So depending on the circumstances, depending on the need of the hour, depending on the topicality, we have worked on creating theme-based approach. Like for example, current scenario where we found businesses struggling, and the main reason they were struggling is they've been hit very badly all of a sudden. How do we ensure that they have a IT infrastructure? How do we ensure those are managed and secure? And most of them in the mid-market and the smaller, they were really grappling with the problem. So we were able to help them out in terms of setting up their infrastructure, moving across from a physical infrastructure to cloud, okay? Giving them with the automated DR, business continuity plan, everything. So we ran campaigns, we ran themes which are pertinent to helping you have a available, managed, secure IT infrastructure. So that was a theme we ran and got tremendous response. We were able to help business to come back to normal stream and at least continue with what they were doing. They were actually marooned, if I can say so, by the impact. They didn't know what to do and they were losing their days. Business was completely shut. Second is the workplace transformation. The huge surge on VDI, virtual desktop infrastructures, helping business applications to move to cloud. They were maybe running on the physical infrastructure, okay, bare metal, how you help them to move into cloud, etc. So run a workplace transformation. Second, run an enterprise collaboration team, where you say you have so much of your business applications, etc. How do you have a collaboration of all these business applications, and how do I move into a platform where you can run them seamlessly? So these are the different themes we ran, all pertaining to the current needs of the clients, current needs of the customers, okay? So all your content should be pertaining to that. Whatever you thought about the pre-COVID should be all self-aside, pushed in the back burner. Entire theme has to be, entire content right now has to be narrative, has to be on a particular theme and which resonates with the client base or resonates with the ecosystem. Next slide, please. Yes, very important. Humanizing brands. Okay. So when I'm talking about humanizing brands, I'm talking about several aspects. I'm talking about which has a purpose, where you put across your staff, your employees, okay, who have been at the forefront and done exceedingly well jobs. Third, reach out and your gestures to all these companies across that you serve. What have you done to them to revive? What is the helping hand you have given out to them? Next slide, please. So, as I said before, we are into cloud services besides data centers, besides network security. So we know that many of those mid-term to small ones, they were on physical servers. How do I help them to move to cloud? Because they have to start, the business has to start somewhere. So we reached out to all of them and gave them free cloud services. Okay, this is the initial offer we gave them, which will run for a couple of months. If they want more, we can always extend that. So the cloud services to help businesses to move back and have a continuity of the business operations. That was the first thing that we did. Next slide, please. Startup community. They were struggling. You heard of a lot of media reports. Many of them really were struggling. So we came up and said, we will provide you an entire package, a package that will help you to run your applications, secure your IT, protect against any disasters, manage your cloud infra, okay, and optimize greater savings. So we do across the length and breadth. So we put all of them into a package and offered it to the startup community and said, this is our offering across, so that at least you have a few months of breathing time. Okay, we will take care of your backend. This is all a freebie for you. Go on and start doing what you're doing. We can always have another dose coming in, but at least we give out a helping hand to all these startups who are struggling on the IT infra, who are struggling on the cloud and security angles, because they may not be so much savvy depending on the line of business on the IT part. So we took care of the entire IT infrastructure. Next slide, please. This has been done on a global basis. We have learned across the globe that a lot of those hospitals, when they're busy in trying to cater or attending to the needs of those patients, there was a severe security threats and attacks happening on the hospitals. So we decided that this is not the time where we need to sit tight and watch all this. This is a time where we need to come forward and help the hospitals. We approached the hospitals in certain key geographies in US and Europe and said, we will take care of your entire security at the back end. Okay, so the entire security management, the incident reporting, taking care, plugging all those patches, etc. of the hospitals, we took care of the back end from entity group. So this is activity we told to the hospital authorities, we take care of this, you don't bother about this, you focus on your main activity, which is treating the patients and getting them up and running. Next slide, please. Another offering that we did, we work with a lot of partners, okay, across the key chain, be it hyperscalers, be it the OEMs, be it the IT partners. And we realized that there are certain work from home toolkits that we need to give them, okay, because many of them, which are so-called medium businesses, they are running from home, okay. So it's becoming a home office concept. So we said, we will offer you something on the collaboration tools on one side. We will offer you something on the security so that your confidential data are secure and there is no breach or hackers are coming in. We will ensure you that you have remote access, okay. Even if you don't have a BCP, we can have a remote access from Akamai, who's one of the partners. So you don't have a VPN to have it. We will provide you the Akamai solutions offer so you can have a continuity with your office applications, even working from home if you need to be. So it's a toolkit that we devised for the small business operations across the length and breadth, starting from your collaboration tools, starting from your security, starting from if I need to do with something besides the VPN, all this to be packed together and we offer is free for the next 6 months to all the small businesses. So at least they can keep on running. Next slide, please. If you have looked before, I have said that in a value, the key thing is employee. Don't ever neglect them because they are one of your assets. Okay, so if we go out only looking at the clients and the ecosystem and don't look at the employees, that will be a sinful act. So what are we doing for the employees? People who are there thick and thin and who are delivering. So both from the point of view for the health and safety that we looked in, we have looked in terms of their insurance. We have looked in terms not only for them, the entire family we have taken care and said, in this pandemic, if anything happens, God forbid, your family or even the close ones will take care. Communications and updates. We have ensured that all the microsites and the regular interactions that we have, our CEO has regular interactions with each of the business functions and each of the entire staff of the business functions. So twice in a month, a fortnightly basis. We have town halls on a monthly basis. We have opened up our skills portal so that everyone in these times can upgrade their skills. And we have got tremendous response. So this has happened from our company. This happened from headquarters also. So people are using, so normally what happens in Mumbai, especially you save around 2 to 3 hours because you don't need to commute to and fro. So how are you utilizing your 3 hours and taking up courses that will enhance your skill sets and can move you up the ladder, or you can have a job engagement coming your way. Lastly, we have also realized that family is a part of the team, and that's a global thing that we have done. So irrespective of what we are doing, we are working from home. So we understood that there are a lot of constraints. So what we have done is we have included family as a part of the team. And this is a message and a theme that we have rolled out across the globe so that people are not very much bothered that, some noise coming in, a baby coming in, etc. We said it's natural. You're working from home. Family is also part of the entire system. So that's a theme that we ran globally. Next slide, please. Yes, the digital customer experience, okay, because now that everything has been pivoted to digital, our customer experience is of paramount importance. So certain facts like Gartner has predicted that in the future, in times to come, 81% of the businesses are going to be won based on enhanced CX, okay? It's not going to be based on the superiority of the products because there'll be very little to choose between the different characteristics of the products and offering. It's the CX that's going to be the determining factor. Can I go to the next slide, please? So when you're doing this, the first important thing is what are we doing to get what is coming from the customer side, okay, across the entire segment. So be it social listening, how keen and how embedded are you to listening what the customers are saying across the social fabric, okay? How are you capturing that, be it in terms of social listening tools or be in terms of monitoring that? Peer group sessions, we are doing it very, very, very regularly. We have sessions where we invite a very close group of, say, 10 CIOs or 10 CISOs or 10 infrastructure heads, and we talk to them on a one-to-one. We have even moderators. We understand them, what they are going through, what is their pain point, what have they encountered, what are they grappling with, what would they like to have, what would be their plans in the next 1 quarter. Take all the inputs, because those are the inputs which will help you to build your narrative, which will help you to serve them better. So we do those peer group sessions on a very regular basis, besides the normal webinars that we do. Because webinars, things get lost. It's always a one-way traffic. The peer group people, and we choose the peer groups in such a way that they represent the different communities, the different verticals, the different segments of the industry, so that we have an all-rounded perspective that comes into us. Next slide, please. What we have also done in today's time is, we know that we have this we already had, but this is really giving us a lot of good mileage. Give the entire reign to the customers. So our customers, as I said, are across the different segments. Now, they obviously would like to get the information or call up within the, not within the normal business hours. There's nothing called a normal business hours right now, and with people not around. So they find this very, very handy. Everything at the tip of the customer. So be it he's trying to raise a ticket, or he wants to see what his assets are doing, he wants to monitor the services, or he wants to manage his billing information. You don't need to call anyone. You don't need to write any email. Everything at your fingertips. Okay, you can do it. You can go there, go to the portal, find out what you want to do, give your customer the details, etc. Your particular service offerings will come in. Even if you want to access any cloud portal you were in with the physical servers, you want to move into cloud, you can do it online. Okay, you can buy cloud, you can provision it, and you can up and get running. You can monitor your service utilization. So everything, give the control back to the customer. And that is what a huge experience is going to be. He doesn't need to depend on any human element. He can do 24/7. He can do on the weekends. He can do at 12 in the midnight. That's the flexibility we're given to the customer. Next slide, please. So I've covered this, but I just wanted to give you a gist. So if you look at this, there are 6 different ways that we have captured how digital customer experience has to be more human in these times. One is, you need to be absolutely sure, based on your interaction with him, whether his expectations has changed. If it has changed, your entire strategy has to be across the new normal or the new access. Then, as I said before, listen to him. You need to listen and understand what he's trying to say, what he's trying to communicate. Your transparency, care, your genuineness and credibility has to be right there on the face. Okay, this is not a time where you will get kudos for your gimmick marketing, or something which is through the hat. This is something where people will understand and appreciate for your kindness, for your genuineness, for your straightforwardness, and trying to help them out. Broaden your definition of care. Okay, customers are very, very careful about how you're treating them, how you're responding to them, how you're going out of the way to help them. They will remember this. It will be remembered. They'll be etched in their minds. When in normal business times, they'll always remember, when I was down, when I was in a absolutely down and out, this company, this brand went out of the way to help me. This is something you should not miss out on. Look at customers who have been with you for 15, 20 years. If they have been with you for 15, 20 years, what are the steps that you have taken, okay, when they were down, the chips were down, okay? How are you going to reward those customers who have been there for so many years and decades with you? The last one is, prepare what comes next, okay? So you need to have a relationship which goes beyond the current ones, okay? Because the deeper customer relationship that you have is going to have a payoff coming in the future, as I said before, when things come back to the near normal scenario. Next slide, please. The experiential marketing. So, as I said, the customers who are remotely, they are on the digital interfacing. They are interfacing with you through the digital or through the tools and tabs and the other interfaces that you put across. And everything is an experience that they are going to encounter and they're going to take note of. For example, as I said before, if I was a customer who was in physical server, I want to move to cloud. I just want to immediately go to cloud because I want to have my business running. How smooth and convenient was my transition to cloud? How did I provision that? How did I have my cloud VMs up and running? How was the entire journey? I need to understand that. I need to be aware of that. If I'm looking at about a data center, I want to have some physical service in data center. I cannot visit data center right now. Can I have a virtual walkthrough? How are you putting your technology here? The likes of AR, VR. How can you give him an immersive experience that comes in? So we have videos that gives him a absolute experience where he doesn't need to come to a data center. He can from his home perceive or have the entire experience of how he's working through the data center. Each and every aspect of the data center has been taken into account. Be it the likes of assets, okay? Like, for example, if he wants to know about capabilities, he wants to know about some case studies, okay? How in today's world, nobody wants to read a text case study. You have to pivot to digital. So how are you going to enhance his experience when he's looking at a case study, a proof point about whether you have the requisite capabilities of delivering what he's looking for? So we have, the next slide, please. So we have tried to capture that. If you look at it, we have transformed into one particular, no, I think it's gone ahead. I think we have moved ahead. We need to go back, I think. Yeah. We can play the video. I think you have to put the sound on.
Case study. How Purple Stream accelerates growth in the cloud TV space. Cloud TV is growing exponentially. Singapore-based Purple Stream wanted to ramp up infrastructure quickly to tap into the opportunity of providing live and on-demand video services globally, meeting the millennial demand of streaming anywhere, anytime. However, Purple Stream's online video platform, Purple Cloud, faced major technology challenges that included high CapEx for infrastructure, managing large volumes of data, on-demand scalability, downlinking to multiple satellites, and delivering uninterrupted services despite data spikes, shortage of skilled IT resources and enormous operating expenses. NetMagic's Infrastructure as a Service (IaaS) solution helped manage all operating systems, database, network infrastructure, setup of a disaster recovery environment at Chennai facility in India, create a dish farm at Chennai facility to enable downlinking of 19 satellites.
One of the reasons why we were very keen to move to NetMagic is that the entire infrastructure was available on an OPEX model. So that actually brought down our CapEx investment, and this immediately gave us a huge opportunity to scale.
The outcome: rapid scalability and quadrupled infrastructure in just 3 years. Ability to handle sudden, unpredictable data spikes. World-class performance. Ability to meet stringent SLA and industry benchmarks. The advantages of infrastructure as a service enabled Purple Stream to make a mark in content broadcasting. Today Purple Stream is a recognized player and a top service provider. 10 years experience. Speed, clarity, reliability in live streaming. Boundaryless broadcast. Providing services to US, UK, Canada, Australia, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Philippines, Indonesia, Mexico, etc. Want to know more about our IaaS services? Write to us.
Basically a representative. What I'm trying to tell you is you need to move to digital. Everything wherever possible, it has for enhanced digital experience. Okay, you need to move it to digital. Whatever assets you have, like for example, another example I can give you, many companies have started doing it, is your bids document that you submit. Normally it has to be very fat, thick, multiple hundreds, sometimes goes thousands of pages. Okay, all that is gone. Today companies are submitting the bid proposal document. Instead of a document, they have a microsite. Each of the sections, they have got tabs. The interactivity builds in. That is what gives the experience. That is what gives the wow feeling, because everything has to be digital. Customers want that. They can interact it and they can go through it. If you don't move it from a legacy to a digital, then you're going to be very soon, you and your business are going to be very soon fossilized. So we need to move with times. We need to ensure that we have that experience quotient going up. Yeah. The other point is the business model is changing. We need to be cognizant of the fact. Today's times, the pandemic has brought up a lot of business models. And we need to be synced with the business models, because if the customer's business models are changing, the way of working is changing, we being a partner has to also change. How are we capturing it? So the co-innovation with labs or with the clients, with the partners, with the ecosystem has to come in. We have to work together in trying to develop new offerings, something which was not there on the anvil, but which has been forced to come in. That can come in only with a joint collaboration. So we have set up this innovation labs across the world and across the regions, where we work with the clients, we work with the partners, we work with the ecosystem players, we work with the startups also. And we try to work on, because sometimes we provide the entire infrastructure, they come together, and the collaboration results in a lot of new offerings and products, and which will also come in very handy in today's world. So we will have to be ensured that what was working in the pre-COVID will not work in the post-COVID. How do you tackle the new changing business models? How do you align yourself with the new realities of tomorrow and with the changing demands of the customers? So this is one area which comes in very handy. The journey that resonates is where I'll talk about what we are planning to do and how each companies have to go through the different stages. If I break it up into 3 different stages. Next slide, please. So you will realize that already the first stage is we have already covered. We are now in the second stage. Yeah, we can move to the next slide. So if I break it out into respond, reset, and thrive, respond is in the last 3 months, we have taken care of the respond. We have somewhat moved from the first phase. We are now in the reset phase. Okay, this is where we are trying to, as I said, innovate products and services, automate our business process flows, but also ensure that there's a personalization angle to it. Disruptions to the operational supply chains that we're doing, empathetic communications I spoke about. So we are in the reset phase right now. How long will it take to move to the thrive? We really don't know, because thrive is where there's a semblance of business normalcy, semblance of the new normal coming in. I think we're slightly away from that. But what I want to capture is, this is the different stages the business are going to go through. Because this is a journey everyone has to go through. In this third stage, which is going to be the finale, is where we will then look at how do I capture in the new normal the entire opportunities that lie in front of me. So it could be either through an M&A, it could be either through expanding my service lines, either through working with the customers in the ecosystem. How do I keep the entire ecosystem, okay, where working even with the industry bodies, even with the partners together, and create that amount of offering which will resonate with the current need. Okay, and so this is something, a thrive stage, which is going to come maybe a quarter or 2 quarters down the line. And this is where everyone will need to play a big part in it. Next slide. So since we are running short of time, I will very fast. So these are the 4 things that we put together to build the resiliency. The resiliency is the degree to which a business bounced back from the pandemic effect. Okay, and what are the key things that they need to do to build the resiliency and reshape the future. So I've already covered that, but I just thought of putting it together. So people first approach, that is, spoke about what we are doing for the people. Second is the stakeholders, the key stakeholders, the entire blocks in the entire community. What are you communicating with them? Our strategy to maintain business continuity, I spoke about that. And lastly, the resiliency part and the recovery part, the second and the third phase. Okay, how are we preparing ourselves for that? Next slide, please. This is a very interesting slide. I put it together, and it's a very fascinating slide. You'll realize that how things have changed, how the needle has moved from pre-COVID to right now. So from a customer first, things have moved to a continuity first. When we were talking about headcount earlier, it's now critical workforce. So when we say a critical workforce today's time, I'm talking about a critical workforce of 5 to 7% of my employee base, which is keeping my data centers across India up and running. Okay. So when we're talking about real-time insights, people are not talking about real-time, people are not talking about near-time insights, so predictability. Can you give me an assurance what's going to happen in the next 1 quarter? So that will help me to safeguard myself or build my arsenal for that. Business visibility is given to market visibility, because as the new markets, new local markets, new regions are being opening up, and depending on the zones that they have, people are more interested in the market visibility rather than a business visibility. So I thought this is something which is very fascinating, and you can see how things have moved, how the needle has moved in a span of maybe a quarter or so, and how things have changed. So I just pick up some in the paucity of time. If you look at cutting edge tools that we were talking about initially, it's now the virtual engagement tools, the tools that where you can have the engagement with the ecosystem, and all has to be obviously in a virtual mode. So this is a fascinating slide which tells you the movement from a pre-COVID to a post-COVID, and how businesses are also adapted to the new mantra. Next slide, please. There were a lot of requests that were coming from the customers who wants to have more of their servers coming in, or even from clients who want to have servers into a data centers, etc. And they said, can you give us how are you coping with it? Can you give us how your office is behaving, how your employees are behaving? So instead of putting across a document, etc., again we went through the experience mode. Again we put in the digital mode. So we are trying to capture something which is how the office, how a data center typically is gearing up to cater to the current requirement. So this is a small video slide. Can we play the video, please?
Okay.
I think it move to the next slide, but it's okay. I think it's okay. Anyway, there's some technical issues maybe. So there's a video where we try to capture is how we have safeguarded and taken care of the entire interests of the entire players who are there in the data center, because this is what a customer of today is asking for. This is what a prospect is asking for. This is what a suspect is asking for, is how are you taking care of data center? What are the things you have taken care, so that when we come there, we know that you have the wherewithal to take care in this pandemic times. So we have captured that in a video, and that was the video. To sum it up, I know we've taken a lot of time, but to sum it up, I'll call out 5 things, okay, that is of paramount importance and want to be cognizant of. 1, listen to the changing needs of the clients. Your ear has to be open, hear them out, give them a patient hearing, understand what they're saying, try to imbibe that, and that will be the trigger point of what you do next. Automate your business processes. I've shown some of it, which has given fabulous results. Automate as much as possible the entire business process, but don't miss out on the personalization angle. That also is very key. Innovate your products and services, co-creation with the clients. What has been working well before 3 months, 6 months before may not work. What are the new things that have been brought in? How have you responded to the current scenario? How are you responding to the current changing dynamics? What are the changes you're bringing in? Don't come out from your own R&D. It has to be a collaboration. It has to be with customers. It has to be with partners, the entire ecosystem. Work closely. Client experience, super important. Everyone knows that. Especially when moving in the digital arena. How are you focusing on that? How are you enhancing the digital quotient or the CX on that part? Okay, what are the different tools and techniques you have written? And lastly, this has come with a lot of challenge. This is a pandemic, but don't forget, this also it's like a half glass, half empty and half full. It also comes with a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of areas where you can tap. How are you preparing to double down on the huge opportunity factors, the new markets, the new service lines, the new businesses? Don't miss out on that. What steps have you taken to work on that? So that is something you need to be cognizant about. So the 5 key takeaways I thought I listed out here, which will stand out. And this is the last slide, which is my favorite slide. And this resonates with the current business scenario. If all of us are not at all able to go through this process of learn, unlearn, and relearn, then we don't call ourselves to be the literate. We don't call ourselves to be the educated staff, because in today's world, if you cannot go through this cycle on a repetitive basis and you don't have the flexibility to change and adapt, then as per Edwin Todd, the great futurist and the author, we don't call ourselves to be the literates. We fall into the other bracket. I think this is a very, very a slide which should be on in the heart and mind of all individuals who are currently working in the different companies in the pandemic times. So that was the last slide. Thank you, gentlemen.
Any questions? Then we can just take up them quickly. Oh.
I'm sorry, I took a bit of more time than I was scheduled to have it.
Guys, any questions? Otherwise, we can just submit up this session, and then if there's something you want to know, then you can message us or email it to us. We can share it with sir, and then he can get back to us.
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you, Prasenjit. Thank you so much for the session and your time. Suresh here. It's a great session. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Absolutely, Suresh. Thanks for inviting me.
Look forward. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank
Can
you,
we
guys.
just click a picture if everyone can just turn on their videos, please?
Yeah, that'll be good.
Just a minute. Urvi, are you taking it?
Okay, fine. I'll take it. You guys all.
I think your camera is not up.
Yes, 1 second, because there is BRATS there.
Yes, just a second. I will put it on.
Kunal, please. You take. There's a lot of reflection on my screen. Okay.
1 second. I'll just put it. Yep. Done. Thank you, sir, for this wonderful session.
Thank you. Thank you, Prasenjit.
Nice.
Thank you.
I think
Thanks, everyone.
Anvita just logged in.
Yeah, she's.
She's a little bit late. Anvita will catch up for the next session.
I'm not sure if she can hear us also.
Cool. All right, guys.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
soon.
Bye.